Hi, Arjun. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so excited that you offered up a post-summit recap. So I know during Sales Summit it was Master Your Mindset, and you killed it on stage and motivating everyone, setting the stage for the market, which, as we all know, has shifted since February. So you've offered up to kind of let's recap, let's talk about the current stage, and also, like, I think we need to realign our mindset again because things have shifted so significantly since we last met. So thanks for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me back, my friend. I'm glad it landed well because if we wouldn't be doing this otherwise if it didn't go well. So I'm glad
Yep.
we're doing it. But yeah, I think it's I like recapping stuff like that is always important. I think even even now in the current times we're in, like we've just now come to expect that nothing is going to go as planned, right? Like nothing's going to go as predicted. We all thought we'd have lower rates by now, but that's it. We just have to pivot and kind of, to use, a martial arts analogy, like use your footwork. Like you can't just stay cemented and flat footed and wait for the market to happen for you or to you or, for lower rates, whatever it might be. Like there's so many things that are outside of our control, but there's a lot, which we're going to get into today, I'm sure, that we do have direct control over. And that's what we need to focus on, not the stuff that we have no control over and then allow that to kind of paralyze us or just frees us from doing nothing and taking no action.
Yeah, I think what's happening right now was unexpected. We had optimism, a lot of
Yeah.
optimism, and I think that's important for us to kind of realign ourselves again. Like it's okay, it's gonna be okay, guys, as long as you don't let it get to you. And I think a lot of part of your talk was of like just not letting get that getting to you, because if you do, then obviously you're going to fail. You're not going to be in this market, not in this industry anymore. So in order to survive, you guys just have to think optimistically.
You do. And I think there's a sense of urgency, but there's also a sense of like just keeping it real that we all have to have. And it's easy to kind of dwell more on the former, which is like getting into this urgent state and then panicking. But we got to remember, guys, like going to the state of calm and just keeping it real. Shelter's never going out of style. People are always going to need housing. People are never going to stop moving, getting divorced, getting married, having kids, like doing all these things. So we're not selling a commodity that's really seasonal or really hard to sell or only works in certain market climates. Housing works in any climate. It just goes through different degrees of intensity. But the opportunity with all of it is that the market has shrunk in the sense of competition, right? So many lenders and agents have left the business. It's going to continue because we all know this market is not for the faint of heart, right? You got to be really serious and have a lot of belief in yourself, and you need great community like you guys have here. Like the fact that you do these gatherings and you have social media university and you have a marketing team that's so committed to pouring into you guys, offering you resources, keeping everyone together is a big, big thing. But you have to do the work. You can't just sit there and kind of pity yourself and panic and say, well, the market's not working out for me and rates are too high. I remember I said it was, I think it might have even been the opening slide, Kasha. And you and I talk about this a lot offline, when we catch up, is that we got the market we needed, not necessarily
Yeah.
the market we wanted, right? And that remains constant. That's not just like the market at the time of 2023 or even going back to 2022, like, or at the start year of 2024. Like this market is what we is the market we needed. And it's the market that we're dealt, which means we need to play within this market. We can't keep longing for lower rates or more inventory, or I wish we had this. You work for a great company that has a very, very optimistic and forward-thinking CEO that wants to just take over everything. Like he's just like, go out there and get it. Go out there and get the market, right? You have leadership, you have Kasha, you have Jay, like everyone that's saying, just go out there and get it. You have product line that is continually expansive, right? You have all the products are not being taken away. The
Yeah.
market is actually healthy for what we do, guys. And remember this, we are the most valuable people or players in any market. I'm an originator just like you guys. So I deal with the same challenges. I wake up and read the same stuff, and I can choose to either kind of take it for what it's meant to do, which is either scare me or put me in a negative place or see opportunity within it. But we sell money. Like, let that sit for a second. We sell money. Everybody needs money. They need money to consolidate debt. They need money to renovate a home. They need money to buy a home. They need money to leverage and buy another home or an investment property or a second home, or they need money to start a business, and getting a business loan is not so ideal. So they'd rather get it from the equity that's sitting there and doing nothing. Like, the options are endless. We just have to start thinking, or continue to think, because you guys are already doing this, continue to think creatively and outside the box and not be so linear. And what I mean by linear is low rates, inventory, I offer mortgages, I connect with clients. Referral partner sends me, but that's linear. That doesn't work anymore. That's not going to work ever again. There's way too much disruption. We might be in this higher rate. I mean, rates may come down a little bit, but we might be in this higher rate environment for a long time, right? And we've got an election coming up. Things are going to be crazy. You should just continue to expect chaos. But if you're expecting it and you're prepared for it in the sense that I'm light on my feet, I can pivot, I can move, I can go in this direction, that direction. I've got all these resources and tools, and I'm going to stay calm and recognize. And remember, always, I sell money. That's never going out of style. And I work in housing, which everyone needs shelter. You put those two things together, you're going to be in demand. It's just going to come down to how much work are you willing to do and how much market share are you willing to grab? Because the one thing that is not going to work, absolutely, category, I can tell you for sure. We all are trying things that we hope will work. And I don't want to say hope, because hope's a terrible strategy, but that we want to make work and we're committed to making work, right? Like, we're going to do the work to make these things happen, these business plans come to fruition, or these lead gen techniques, or making ourselves more visible. I do know for certain what will not work, and what will not work is sitting on your hands and doing nothing and just waiting, right? Kasha, we talk about that all
Yep.
the time.
Amen
Yeah.
to that. Yep. You have an opportunity to shine now. Obviously, it's your job, right? And nobody's job is easy. You got to
No.
work at it. But I want to take a minute to talk about all the craziness that's happened since Sales Summit in February
Yes.
in the real estate market, like the lawsuits, all of that. And I feel like there's opportunity there as well that we wanted to kind of discuss today, giving the loan officers uh, a little gleam of hope of what they can do, even take a
Mhm.
negative into a positive.
For sure. I mean, look, always remember, if you look at all the companies that have been created out of disruptive times, recessions, there is always massive, massive opportunity to gain market share, to gain wealth, to make money, to leave your footprint or your stamp on this market whenever there's disruption. Nobody can really do any of that when the market is just ripping. All you're doing is facilitating transactions, and it gives everyone a really false sense of security and thinking that they're the secret sauce or they're really good at their job. We're not. I don't mean to burst your bubble, but again, I'm one of you, you're one of me. We're all on the same team here. We're all lenders. We're not that special when rates are low and deals are flying. Like when COVID was going on, none of us were great at our jobs. We just were very good at organizing and herding cats because it was crazy and you had to keep it all together, right? Some of us were not so good and we got exposed because you'd let, things would just fall apart or you'd miss deals, but it was like drinking from a fire hose. But it wasn't really indicative of whether you were really good at what you do. These markets are the ones that show you what you need to work on, what you need to get better at. And they also give you an opportunity because things aren't exactly super intense or fast paced or crazy busy. So that's the opportunity to seize, that you can really sharpen your craft. But it's a huge, huge opportunity right now, like massive, massive opportunity. I'm more excited about it than I have been even in the past because one, I know with each passing month, I know because I see it. I see it online. I see all the complaining and the negativity. And like every time mortgage-backed securities sell off or the 10-year treasury spikes because of another jobs report or whatever. Although I do think we're starting to turn a corner and, we can touch on that later. People will post a picture of a Jack Daniels bottom, like, oh, I'm done for the day. Is it 5 o'clock yet? Is whatever. Like, think about the image that is portraying, right? As someone who's supposed to be providing solutions and solving problems for people or keeping people calm. And these are mortgage people, not from Sierra Pacific Mortgage, of course. But there are people like in the industry. I'm seeing brokers and stuff do it. So every time the market gets a little more challenging, I start getting a little bit more excited. And maybe I'm sick, maybe I don't know, call it the competitor in me, but I'm imploring all of you guys to kind of adopt this mindset also. As things get tighter, get more excited. Like Arjun, that's really insensitive. I need to make money. I have bills to pay. So do I. I'm in the same boat as you. I'll keep reminding you. I'm not any different than any one of you. I'm the same. I'm an originator that looks at rates. I check the market. I look at product, and I try and figure out ways to solve problems. That's it. The same way you do. But every time the market gets a little more challenging, I get excited because I know that lender that was posting the bottle of the Jack Daniels bottle on his Instagram or on his Facebook saying, man, this sucks. You know, is anyone else drinking with me? The market, I know that guy or gal is likely going to quit. They're not cut out for this. They weren't built for this. So good. I applaud that. That's great. I know that the market share of available people that can buy, move, and migrate obviously flexes whenever rates go up because of affordability. But at the end of the day, it's all relative, because if my competition is shrinking and the pie is shrinking, the same amount of market share that I could grab when the competition was great and the pie was huge, it's all the same. So you have to think of it that way. You can actually get the same market share because of decreased competition in spite of the smaller pie or available market that's out there. But the pie is never going away. And that's what also keeps me excited. I know that none of this is going out of style. My product line, just like your product line, continues to remain expansive and fluid. Deals are not like money, and investors are not just like closing the door saying, no, we're not doing it. We're pulling out of this market or whatever. So we just have to like roll up our sleeves and actually do the work, but get excited. Okay. Whatever sick, demented way you want to call it, get excited and get really like just fired up about the fact that every time things get a little bit tighter, a little bit worse, your competition is shrinking. And if you can outlast and you can survive, I promise you, there's going to be incredible things, opportunities, success, numbers, metrics, market share, your business exploding, whatever it is on the other side of all these challenges. We just have to keep forging ahead and stop bitching about, either the market, rates, inventory, whatever. Like, there can't be any more of that.
Yeah, I love it. Just I want to kind of take a moment to talk about Social Media University.
Yeah.
And appreciate you being so active and in our community, because I know our folks really enjoy listening to you and hearing from you as a peer, right? It's awesome from that standpoint. So we're offering a two-part series where we just sent out emails on June 6th. We're partnering with Josh Pitts of Shred It. He's going to talk
Great, by the
about,
way. He's
yeah, he's
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Talking about how to create content and actually the video editing portion. I know that's a lot of folks pain points, like they don't know how to do that. So Josh is going to talk us through that. Then we're going to follow up in July with you on content. I know content is constantly a topic where people struggle. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say things. They just struggle, like they don't make time for it, or is it not the right, lighting? Is it, all those different things? And we're going to partner with you to kind of close this out in part 2 in July. But today we wanted to give them a little tidbit of, what's to come, what's not working, right? I think we talked a little bit about Instagram and what is working. So let's give the folks on the phone, a little of that before we kind of dive into social media next month.
Definitely. Let's do that. And I'll tell you guys this, you're really lucky that Josh is going to be doing what he's doing, because he's awesome. And I swear, like he won't be able to simplify it anymore in terms of how video editing can be done, literally by pushing 3 or 4 buttons on your phone. Not buttons, but actually like touching the screen, right? The actual digital buttons. You'll be able to film from your phone, use the app, upload the image or the actual footage itself, push a button, and depending on like what sort of editing package you're signed up for, which they are super, super, super affordable, like almost to the point where you're scratching your head wondering, like, I didn't realize it could be this easy to do or that inexpensive, because he's got a great team and he's worked it out to be really helpful to this market. You'll push 3 buttons and in 48 hours, you're going to have a video like done and fully edited.
Awesome. Yeah.
So this could not get any easier. So those of you that are like, I don't have any time to, like, basically what Kasha and the entire team are trying to do, guys, is remove every possible freaking excuse that you could use to not be doing this. If you're not visible, if you're not online, if you're not putting yourself out there, I'm sorry, like it's just the day, like the countdown is on, right? In terms of when the career could potentially expire. And I said this on stage as a reminder, and for, there might have been some people that weren't there. So, you might be hearing this for the first time. If you plan on leaving the industry in the next 5 years, like if you're kind of done, if you're at the tail end of your career, or you've got a spouse who's works for a company that's about to go public and you're like, I'm just kind of banking on them doing well. none of this stuff is really going to matter to you. I mean that. It really doesn't. If you plan on exiting this industry in 5 years, it's not going to matter. If you plan on staying in this business for 5 years and not just staying in it, but thriving and being a leader because you believe in yourself and you know that you belong and that you're not some commoditized rate or just vendor that people can just shop around with, but you're seriously valuable, then this stuff is not optional. It's just not optional. You have to do it. Anybody can do it. And I sincerely mean that. I don't benefit from whether people say, like, do you benefit from this? Like, why are you always pushing people to do it? I'm pushing people to do it because I care about the industry, because Kasha and your leadership are all dear friends of mine. And I love working and collaborating with other mortgage people because I take it very personal how the industry sometimes looks at us as lenders. I take it very personal. It's like a chip on my shoulder, but a healthy one, right? Like the same one that Tom Brady had for getting drafted, where he got drafted, he just never lost the chip. And I think it worked out pretty good for him in the end, right? As in terms of channeling that motivation. So I do the exact same thing because I think the industry views us kind of like a little bit lower on the totem pole than we need to be. They don't view us as peers for the most part. They view us as vendors and people that are just there that you know, that are either trying to solicit business or that you just call up and get a quote from. But we are so much more valuable than that. But that's never going to change. And this is why I champion this effort unless we get on these devices and start speaking up. Because the narrative is already set in terms of how the market views mortgage professionals. That's why I also say, like, loan officers should be struck from everyone's vocabulary. Like, it shouldn't even be that. Don't refer to yourself as a loan officer. Refer to yourself as a loan or mortgage advisor, because people listen to their advisor. A loan officer is someone that you call and shop around or you kick around. They're just a doormat, right? So just strike it from your vocabulary. Start thinking of yourself as more, acting as if you're more as well, leveling up, getting sharper, and the market will start to view you differently, right? If you want different results and you want to be viewed differently, you're going to have to be different, which means you're going to have to do different. And I want to get into that real quick. Kasha, can I share my screen and just like quickly share with these guys something?
Absolutely.
It'd be great to do real fast. Okay, guys, let me tell you right now, and you guys can see this, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you right now what is not working. I touched on it earlier. What is not working is sitting on your hands and doing nothing. So no more of that. If any of you have been doing that, you've been kind of waiting to see, I just want my business to kind of open up and I want my clients, my whole book of business to be able to refinance when rates drop, and then I'll keep busy and I don't need to worry about this stuff. Not good enough. It's just not going to be good enough. That is not a good strategy, because let me tell you this, as little as you may think of this, there's only about 18%. This is a shocking statement or stat. My CEO shared this with me. 18% of mortgage clients actually go back to the person that last did their loan for their next transaction. Why? Because we inherently are quite shitty at keeping in touch, because we're always moving on to the next deal. On top of that, the industry is moving so fast, and all of these consumers are doing what? They're on their phones. They're absorbing content. So if you're not speaking up, chances are you're being slowly forgotten about, right? Because the time that passes since you did that great transaction, no matter how heroic you were in helping them get into that home, refinance that loan, whatever it was, eventually with time it fades, because it's not the only thing going on in people's lives. But what is going on in their life is them absorbing content constantly. Okay. I think I don't know if I share this with you, Kasha, but like my daughter bedazzled my phone. This is not an actual case.
No.
You know, my 5-year-old bedazzled my thing, and she will get very upset if one of these beads is missing. So I can't take it off at all. But it's very distracting on a camera. But these consumers are all on these phones, and if they're absorbing content from Sally in Dallas or in Las Vegas, Nevada, who doesn't care about how she looks, she's not apprehensive. She's like, I don't care. I've got important stuff to share. And you're too worried about how you look, how you sound, or that you don't have anything intelligent to say. Sally is going to eat your lunch. Sally from Las Vegas, Sally from Reno, Nevada. Let's go with an even smaller town. Because she's active and she's constantly pushing herself out there, Sally's going to eat your lunch and eventually gain enough market share and occupy the brain cells of your clients, to the point when it's time for them to refinance, I'm like, you know what? Sally just made an offer. Like, I'm just going to click on this. And before you know it, that deal will be at the funding table, and then they'll remember you, and it's too late. Or you'll reach out to them like, hey, rates dropped. I want to, like, God, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. I started the refinance a while ago. It's too late. So if you're just banking on lower rates for your book of business to turn, I've got that shocking statement for you. chances are that entire book of business may already, even with higher rates, be thinking about someone else because they're being inundated by content. So let that sink in, and also be a reminder to you that you better get going. It's not too late. It's never too late, but you better get going. So use the resources, all the tools, everything that's being provided for you through Social Media University and this great company, and stop sitting on your ass. Just do it, guys. I'm imploring you, please, so that our entire industry gets better and we stop getting kicked around and you don't lose any more business, because that's a sin to lose a client that already did something with you. An absolute sin. Like, nothing chaps my ass more than when I lose a client because I didn't do a good job keeping in touch. It happens to all of us, but we have to be very proactive. So the strategies I want everyone to be thinking about implementing, and I'll get into this more. I just wanted to tease this with you guys for today, but we're going to get into it more in July. Consistency is going to win, which means just like Sally and Reno, she's just doing it. She's not caring or worried about too much about how she looks, or worried about being perfect, or worried about lighting, or all these things, or how she, like, whether she was tired or got good sleep. She just gets the information out there because it's not about her. It's about the importance of that message, or the importance of that market update, or the importance of what's going on, because it might help one person today. And if she's stuck or paralyzed by the vanity of all those other excuses I just gave you, then she's doing a huge disservice to the market. And you should all remember that. You're doing a huge disservice to the market by being selfish and holding on to the great stuff that you know, and all the expertise and advice and guidance and success stories that you've had from over the years or months. By simply holding on to it, you are doing the market a disservice and you are being selfish. So it's time to stop being selfish and share it. Webinars are really great. I'll get into a strategy with you guys in July on how to just be putting out content, even in your stories, and telling people, listen, guys, I'm going to put together this webinar on home buying secrets, or home buying hacks, or how to find off-market listings. Whatever the little niche is that you want to share, and you could do several of these. Start collecting email addresses. Drop me your email address if you'd like to be included on this. I'm going to be doing it here in a couple of weeks. Drop me your email. Start collecting email addresses. Get into your database. Webinars are so easy to do because you can record them. A lot of people's apprehension of doing webinars is, well, no one will show up. It doesn't matter how many people show up. Even if you sent it out to, say, 100 people, one person showed up, it doesn't matter. You're recording it for the other 99 because you're going to email the recording. Because if you have the feature on Zoom and you can actually record it, it doesn't take much to edit it. And if you need resources, the team will help you guys out with this stuff. You can kind of clean up the front end and the back end. So it's a nice quick recording of 20 or 30 minutes. And you can email the link out to that entire database of the 100 people. Someone's going to watch it and it's going to impact somebody. But webinars are just such low-hanging fruit and easy to do. And it's a little bit of effort, but after you've done one, you'll be like, that was so easy. I don't know why I've been in my head thinking that that was going to be an impossible task. You'll keep doing them, and it'll keep you top of mind, in front of people. And above all, it keeps you sharp at your business. All of this stuff that we're talking about, right, Kasha? We talk about this, like, the purpose of doing it is not to do some extra thing. This is actually making you better, right? You talk to everyone about this.
Absolutely. If you consistency, like if you don't do something on a daily basis or make it a habit, then you forget it. There's a book out there that I don't know if everybody's read, the habit book. But if you don't do it on a consistent basis, you're going to get overwhelmed and distracted by other things. So you just got to make it a ritual. And I love the idea of the webinars and being the subject matter expert, which all of our folks are, right? That's why they're in this industry. Like you said, they're advisors. So step up and own it, right? Step up and own it.
For sure. If you don't, someone else will. And that's something everyone should just write down. I have it written down. It's on a Post-it note. It's everywhere, right? It's in my phone, on top of my ideas board. If I don't, someone else will. It's written down there because it's just a constant reminder that if I don't get up and do the thing, if I don't make the phone call, if I don't put out the piece of content, if I don't put on the webinar, if I'm not consistent, somebody else will be, and they're going to eat my lunch, right? It's a dog eat dog world, right? So we've got to get competitive and just start to get a little bit like fierce about this and pick up the intensity. And again, the reason why I'm saying, like, with webinars, all these things, why they're good for you to do them and have that mindset and intensity is it makes you good at your craft. None of this stuff is like extra time. Like, God, I don't have time for it. You do have time. When do you not have time to get better at your business or to sharpen your knives, right? And get really precise with your messaging? That's something we're all supposed to be doing. Because
Yeah.
if you're thinking, well, this takes away time for me doing transactions, no, you're thinking as a transactionalist. You're not thinking about it as an advisor. Advisors constantly have to be reading market data. They have to constantly be staying up to date with the news and what's going on, what's happening in microclimate markets, macro climate markets, all these things, and tying it all together. They have to stay super sharp. And when you talk to an advisor, whether it's a financial advisor, a mortgage advisor, a real estate advisor, whatever it is, an insurance advisor, you can tell those who are really good at what they do and those who are just like there to do transactions in one conversation. And Kasha said it, like you being positioned as the expert, you know, the subject matter expert. That's exactly it. When people say like that person knows what they're talking about, like
Yeah.
I am not ready to buy something. I'm not maybe doing something right now. I do know if I ever do, it would be to work with somebody like that. Now you change it from like that to that person by cementing it and doing more and more. Kasha, I think you were going to say something. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, no. I also wanted to take it one step further is providing value, not only to your customers, but
Yes,
also your real estate partners. You provide them with that value and they know that they can turn to you, then, then you get more leads.
totally.
That's kind of a no-brainer. So part of our social media university, we've opened it up now to real estate partners as well. We encourage you to invite them to listen to Josh, to listen to Arjun or any of these other subject matter experts on social media because they also need to be in the space and they're also having the same struggles you're having. So, no brainer, make sure that you invite your real estate partners to the next social media university because then they'll look at you as a value add, right? And then they'll
Big
turn to you
time.
like, when's the next class? And
Big
that
time.
probably broadens and strengthens your relationship with them.
Big time. Look, agents don't need another lender talking to them about products or rates or great service and
Yep.
fast times or to go out to coffee to get to know them, right? I call it the awkward first date. Like how many first dates are the worst? They're the absolute worst. If
Yep.
you are adding this kind of value and helping them with the one thing that's going to move the needle in their business, guys, they're going to look at you differently because you just did more for them. And I'll tell you this, I actually, you got to think of yourself as a little more invaluable, which means you need to play bigger, act bigger, and kind of like, have your chin up, stand up tall, and even toot your own horn from time to time. I tell agents when I sit down with them, when I'm going to go through any of this stuff with them, I don't know how many lenders you're working with. It's not really a concern of mine. And you probably have a lender that you've worked with that does all your deals. That's great. I'm just going to tell you right now, in spite of the fact that I don't know if we'd be a great fit or not, I'm going to do more for your business in the next 30 minutes than any other lender you've ever talked to. Okay. Boom. Now I have their
Nice.
attention. It's a punch that but I'm not begging them for business. I don't like this whole subserviency of please give me a lead. Please. I did that, guys, for 16, 17 years. I got nothing but sore red shins from it, meaning kicked in the shins. Okay. And really, when I add up all the time spent versus the dollars it made, it did nothing for me. And I hope this resonates with some of you because, like,
Yeah.
I resent, like, those years were great in terms of teaching me when I look back on them, but there were so many moments of resentment. I'm like, I'm 50 times smarter than this agent who just got their license 8 months ago, yet they're treating me like a doormat, right? Or like I have to suck up to them in hopes that I'll get a lead, and it's a shitty lead, let's be honest. When they do finally give you that lead, it's the lead that nobody can close. Now I've got to find some way to do this miraculous equation of making 1+1 = 3 and, figure it out, probably commit loan fraud, whatever I got to do to close the damn thing. And then hopefully they'll trust me enough to get business. No, I think if we do this stuff well and you add enough value, you'll be viewed different. I don't think, I know this for a fact because I've done it. I know how the market can now view me, and I believe it'll do the exact same thing for all of you, regardless of what stage you're at. But if they start seeing you as somebody that's adding value and looking at you different, you will become indispensable. Indispensable means it doesn't matter what kind of disruptions going on, what's happening with rates, what's happening with inventory, what's happening with e-lenders, NAR lawsuits. It doesn't matter. You cannot not be part of their business. You're indispensable. And when you are like that, whether you work for a company or you're a real estate business like we all are, like you have longevity then. You're not going anywhere. We all know who's indispensable for certain industries or places maybe we've worked, even the company you're at right now. You know who's not going anywhere, regardless of like if rates went to 10% and volume just went away. I know the people who are not going away at my company because they're just too valuable. Well, I want to be one of those people in the marketplace. So again, that's just a bit of the mindset shift and how to be viewing this. There's one more I want to talk about, which I'm not going to get into the specifics of it. I definitely want to encourage you to talk back with the team, with Kasha, Jessica, Laura, and everyone there. They can help you with this. So green screen effects, guys, I want to make sure, and we'll talk about this more in July. And if there's any changes to it, because I'm always trying to stay sharp with my craft, just like I told you, like I have to keep up to date with things. But for right now, at this present time, this is working really well. It's working for me. It's working for everyone I see. Now, just to recap this, or just remind everyone, the green screen effect, what I'm talking about, for those of you that watch and absorb lots of content, is like when you see someone's face and then there's like a news article or something behind them, a picture of something, and they're like pointing at it, talking about this headline, the jobs number came out low, it was a miss, and therefore we're going to probably have lower rates come Monday. Like that's what a green screen effect is. It's taking some kind of image, and that's what a green screen is, right? They use it in newsrooms. That's how the weatherman does the news, right? It's a green screen and they have a map and he points and they're always wrong and they still get paid. But you're not going to be wrong as a mortgage person, as a mortgage advisor. So you can take articles, screenshot them, go into the green screen effect. And again, your team will help you with this. I won't get into the specifics of it, but just
Super
reach back to the
easy.
team. They will help you with it if you need help. And once you've done one, you'll be like, that was so easy. I encourage everyone to be doing one of these at least a week. Do one a week and mix this in with the other things, the photos and the other things you're doing and talking about the market or whatever it is. Just mix these in. And there's no shortage of articles out there, guys. If you're scanning the news and being really deliberate and intentional about your craft in this business, look, go to Housing Wire, go to CNBC. Those are the two where I kind of grab most of my articles from. CNBC, because they're generally trying to stoke fear, right, as a news outlet, because they need people. And Housing Wire, it's a little bit like, it's kind of like less sexy, but it's the straight facts, right? Because they're not, Housing Wire is just there to dish it to you straight, which is what I love and appreciate about them. But it's not necessarily meant to like make you emotional or kind of rile people up, whereas other news outlets will. So I try and take articles from both when I find it, and if it's relevant, I'm like, okay, let me put my own take on this or my own, clarification, or tell people why this is BS or why this is true, why this is good news, why you should care. Green screening, such an easy way to get attention. Again, just like Kasha says, it positions you as the expert and it's as an authority, right? What's more authoritative than you standing in front of an article and commenting on it, right? Like that's exactly the kind of way you want to be viewed, right, Kasha?
Yeah, no, I love that tip. And like you said, there's always changes within the space. So
Yeah.
if there's going to be a shift between now and July, we'll definitely keep you guys posted. The marketing team can help you with a step-by-step of how to make the green screen effect work. I've done it in my Instagram. I did it for the Candace Zoom. I had it posted behind me and I was talking, encouraging you guys to join. So it's a really great, effective method, like a webinar on Instagram kind of thing. Love that. So I know we've got just a couple more minutes with you, Arjun.
Yep.
So let's
Yeah.
bring it
Just
home.
forge ahead of you. I'm just going to close with this. And then if you've got anything, Kasha, you want to,
Yep.
we can elaborate on for another minute or two. I'm going to close with this. I shared this in Dallas, but I want to just kind of end with this here, guys. And remember, like up until this year, it was all about our sphere of influence, and you hear about this with the activation and the use of your CRM, which is very important. And everyone should be doing it. You guys are a total expert, right?
Yep.
Which is a great, great product. So use the heck out of it and then use it some more. But your sphere of influence is this circle. And we've all been taught, like we all heard, whether it was in college, high school, your parents told you, or some business mentor said, it's all about who you know. It's all about who you know. That's your sphere of influence. It's all about who you know. Now, going forward, because marketing is changing and because messaging is changing and because of these devices, it's about who knows you, not who do you know, who knows you. The market, and I can't even do it justice in this illustration here, guys. The market is like 100, 1,000, 10,000x bigger than your sphere of influence. It's limitless. It's the rest of the world out there. You got your sphere of influence, the people you know, the people who know you, your family, your friends, your past clients, your referral partners, and that's it. But we all know the market is so much bigger than that. And so if you start creating content, you can turn the bigger circle into something that you actually have influence over. Because if people start to know who you are, they've seen who you are, you're walking into rooms, you're walking into meetings, and that's what a definition of a brand is at the end of the day, right? It shows up to meetings before you do. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. It's what they say about you when you're not in that circle. But if the market starts to have a little bit of a buzz on any level about who you are, what you're doing, what you're talking about, you being the subject matter expert, then you're going to have influence over it, because you're not starting your conversations on that awkward first date. You're starting at what I call the third date, right? Where you typically know each other a little bit more. You might know each other's middle names. And that is a refreshing way to start conversations. Like, I've seen your stuff, Kasha. Like, I just saw something you shared on LinkedIn. I just saw this. Like, so nice to finally meet you. I feel like I kind of know you. When you start hearing stuff like that, number one, you know it's working. And number two, you know you're winning, because you've been occupying this person's brain subconsciously without even having to be in front of them. And that is extremely, extremely powerful. And that's going to be the separator in the market going forward for the rest of this year and beyond. So make the market the place where you have influence by making this all about who knows you guys, and abandoning the who do I know, all right? It's all about who I know, who's in my circle. That's important. But I would rather fish from the bigger circle and that pond than just relying solely on my sphere of influence. So anyways, that's it. That's what I wanted to share there on that. Thanks, Kasha, for
Yeah,
letting me
that
rap
was
about that
circling
from.
back.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Um, so ultimately we're trying to, you get that?
That was good. I like it.
Ultimately, we need you to show up on social media. We need you to put your face on camera. And this is why we're providing you with all of the content, the materials, the advice, the tips, the tricks, everything that you need. So tune into next month with Josh Pitts and Arjun. Thank you so much for the recap on the mindset, and then
Anytime.
also giving everyone a tidbit of what we're going to talk about content going forward in July. So
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it, guys. I always love doing stuff with you, honestly. And then, like Kasha said, I promise you, anything that's new or different, or if that's changed, if there's stuff from this call that's changed come July, I promise you, what Kasha and I will collaborate on and make sure that we bring to you guys is going to be current and with the times. It's nothing that's going to be outdated or no longer working, or even better, it's not what I'm actually practicing. I'm not going to ever encourage you guys to do something that I'm not actually doing, because again, we're all on the same team. I'm one of you. So if I'm doing it and it's working for me, I'm going to absolutely share it with you guys and push you to do the same thing. So I can't wait to see you guys in July. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep your chins up. Don't dwell on anything negative. See the opportunity in every single thing that's out there, and help your referral partners out with this stuff as you're learning it too, because you'll add so much value to them, and not just be this rate provider or rate sheet and donut, hoster at their open house. I don't want to be that person, and I hope you don't either.
awesome. Thank you.